Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm sorry, I'm in the car with my family. We're almost home. So,
All right. Hey, that's no problem. I'm just going to be setting up uh, email invites to the other group members.
okay, great.
So if you just want to rejoin when you're home, that's fine.
Okay, I will. It'll be like 5-10 minutes, maybe. So,
All right.
okay, thanks, Justin.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how you doing, man?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The only way I can get audio and video is through my phone and my computer up at the same time. Yay.
I did that just the other week.
Yeah. So yeah, we're waiting for everybody else. Looks like it.
I don't think they're gonna join. We're already 20 minutes in. Haven't heard from them.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess it's just us.
Yep. So I think we'll just go ahead and get started.
Okay. Question for you on the format of this class. I still have no clue what we're supposed to be doing every week. I feel very confused.
Yeah. I understand. Here, hold on a sec. What does this do?
Looks like it made your screen go on.
Okay, good.
Full screen. You've got Google up or something.
Yeah. Can you see it well enough to read and everything?
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about all that as well because, yeah, it just doesn't feel like I'm doing anything.
Yeah, I feel like all we do is come to this meeting on the weekend and that's it.
I know. And then you need to, what I understand is you need to contact the teacher and ask for an evaluation on your learning, on the thoroughness of your learning, and he evaluates that based on videos like this.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it's really weird, but yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I have a database class I'm taking 225, and it's like it feels like they're asking me to do all the coding before we're taught the content.
Yep, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm assuming as we do more of that coding, because I'm in 225 as well. As we go along, we'll start to get the concepts more. But I fail those tests every week because I don't understand the DDML or DCML or all those little terms that they use that they haven't taught us.
Yeah, I think
but I get A's in the lab. I just fail the rest of it. So.
I'm the opposite. I can't get the labs to work.
Oh, really?
and then I do good on the exams pretty much because I have to. I have to do good on one or the other, else I'm just going to flunk out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, maybe we can help each other out on that too then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, problem I'm having now is with lab 2. I can't seem to get it done. It was due last week, and now I feel like I can't move on because if lab 3 or 4 refers back to lab 2 and lab 2 is not done correctly, then lab 4 won't work.
Right.
So,
what are
although
you
somebody
stuck
in the
with
class told me that you can do lab 3 without lab 2 being finished.
I haven't started lab 3 yet, but from what I understood, yeah, we'd refer back to the previous labs.
Yeah. Which
stuck in
kind
lab
of
2.
Where am I stuck?
Yeah.
Like step 2.
Okay. Let's see. What was step 2? Because we had to fill out all the database stuff, creating the tables and the keys and all that.
Yeah. That's where I'm having a problem. I got the part done where you create the index and then the unique index. You create the unique index, I think in step at the end of step 1. And then step 2, I can't get the query to return the same results as what's on the page. So I'm stuck on the query part. Let's see.
We'll have to look at that. Yeah. So I watched a video in iLearn. In one of the videos, he went through how to do all this, and it was very much I don't want to say copy and paste job, but it was. I mean, they had what you needed to use or to paste into to type into your script, and I just did that. So.
And that was on iLearn?
Yeah, if you go to the iLearn in the class, the video section. I really hate the new iLearn, by the way. It sucks.
Yeah, me too. I did all my religion courses on iLearn 3, so I see iLearn 3 as like the religion portal.
See, I did everything up until the summer semester in iLearn 2, and it was way better. Yeah, so if you go 03 or 02 videos right there,
Right
and
there.
watch there was 2 videos spread over. It's the organize and start editing lab part 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And that's what helped me out a lot. I mean, it was very much in your Linux, opening up 2 different documents, kind of copying and pasting, and then renaming things. So.
Okay. I'll have to look more closely into that. I did look at those videos.
Yeah, it was really confusing at first for me too, until I watched the video, and then I just did exactly what he did in the video, and he just did the very first section of it, and then I applied the same thing to the other 6 different indexes you have to create. So.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have you join our 225 group.
Are we in the same class on 225?
I'm in section 07.
I don't know what I'm in. Let me check real quick.
I sent out an email to Casey and Marina.
Uh-huh.
I sent them a message on Google Hangouts. The only thing I haven't done is posted on the discussion forum.
Yeah. I got your emails on it, and they kind of seem to fall off the face of the earth. I get it with Marina because she's literally on the other side of the world.
Yeah, but
Casey,
I haven't heard from Casey since like the first couple of days.
Yeah, same. I wonder if he's dropped the class.
Yeah.
I'm in 11 instead of 7, so we're not in the same class, but we're in the same course.
Right. It's all the same material.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, heck, maybe I'll join. It couldn't hurt, right, to have you join our group in our section.
Sure, it'll be fun.
If we're on the same page and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you have some experience with JavaScript, right?
Late today. We were doing errands and we were planning to get back sooner. It just, it didn't work out, unfortunately. So.
No, that's all right. I mean, heck, you're the only one here, so that's definitely, that's like, you can't even measure that much improvement.
That's true.
All right, so you said that you did JavaScript how long ago? A year ago?
At least a year ago, probably a year and a half.
Okay. Well, I came up with just some basic stuff that we can go over. I took it just last semester.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested that you said you did a calendar. I never did a calendar. We did just programming examples and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I got confused. I realized that like the next day. I was thinking of a different class that I did the calendar, and that was the C+ class that I did a calendar in.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't do it in Java. My
Okay.
bad.
That makes sense. I couldn't even think of how you would start a project like that with JavaScript. So that's why I was intrigued. I was like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Well, I was hoping Marina and stuff would be here because I was kind of basing it around them and kind of just figuring they didn't know so much. So
right.
Let me know if you want to skip over any parts.
Okay, will do.
So, got an outline here. So you're familiar with the way we make comments in JavaScript?
Yep.
The slashes and the
hashtag doesn't work in Java, if I remember right.
Right. Yeah, in HTML, which we're going to be dealing with later, it looks like this. That's an HTML. This right here is for
connection log. Let's see. That was just on my computer. I lost connection. I can still see it on my iPhone, so we're good.
Oh, now you're looking at it on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, is it big enough for you to see what I'm typing?
Not quite. I'm trying to rejoin on the computer.
Okay.
But I can always watch it again later too. So if you want to keep going and I need to come back to it, I can.
All right. So the double slash is just for a line comment. The block comment is the slash asterisk, and then the closing asterisk slash.
Okay.
Right there. If you, let's see. The one thing that really helped me was creating a defining table with JavaScript. You have basically that defines the input, the processing, and the output. So what input are you going to take from the user? What processing are you going to do? How are you going to modify it, calculate it, and then how are you going to present it? How's it going to output? With multiple functions, you can pass values between each other. So you can have this function get a value from this function, and then calculate it. But that's kind of with the more complex programs. We didn't do that a whole lot. We did that towards the end of the 160 course. You're still able to hear me, right?
You there?
Yeah, are you still able to hear me?
Yeah. Like you dropped out for a second.
Okay. So the statements, basically it's lines such as this. This would be a statement. You always end it with a semicolon. Each line would be considered a statement. Things like variable x equals y. Or whatever.
In JavaScript. Yeah.
That would be considered a statement. When you're writing if statements and things like that, you need to be careful about where you put the semicolon because that technically ends the statement. The block of code, excuse me. And when the computer reads the code, it goes from top to bottom, left to right. So
right.
You need to watch how you word your coding because of that, because it might do it in the wrong order and then it will keep you from getting the answer you want. Like say if you declare a variable before or excuse me, after the calculation, then it won't execute.
Right. Now, refresh my memory as well. In JavaScript, you can write your functions at the top of your script and then call the functions later on and send it whatever variable you declare after that, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Let's see. Trying to find one we did that has multiple functions. Here's one. So yeah, see, we've got this function here, this function here. And we're passing variables between them. That's what this does here, in between parentheses. Whatever you name inside these parentheses is the variable you'll use down here. See how I've got variable a equals principal?
Right.
That's getting that from there. That's how we know it's principal.
Naming it to a different variable, even though you could still call it principal down later on if you didn't rename it.
Yes, that's right. You can pass values to, you can change them whatever you want. A really good trick I found was sometimes you need to use algebraic formulas if you're calculating the diameter of a circle or something. And a lot of people like to code in a way so that the variables in the formula are like, you know, diameter 1, diameter 2 divided by radius. You know, they name those variables like that. What I like to do is just go exactly how the formula is presented: x, y, Z, things like that, and then I convert those diameter 1s, diameter 2s to X, Y, and Z.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's easier for you to read the formula with the XYZ versus the diameter,
Yeah.
whatever the variable is called at that point.
Yeah, it helps me keep my variables straight and not get them all confused with each other. So anything that you declare without any value in it, like if I were to just go variable X, the value of X is not nothing. It's actually undefined. It's literally the word undefined.
Right.
Okay, so when you create something, don't think it's nothing. It will always be something, whether it's undefined or something else.
Okay.
Let's see.
Does JavaScript use global variables?
It can. I believe if you go up here, see how I've got the function and then the brackets?
Yep.
If you go up here below the script type tags and just write in some variables, I believe that will call it a global function. And I
Okay.
think that you can use it anywhere.
Cool.
I believe that's how it works.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But it has to be outside the function tags. Normally, most people, what I understand is most people don't do that because it can interfere with other functions. Like if you use X inside of another function, then you will have effectively used X twice.
Gotcha.
And you won't be able to use it again. So that's why it's not very common. So there's arithmetic operators. Of course, probably know the subtract, add, minus, multiply, divide, things like that. Yep. There's a couple of more complex ones like modulus. And modulus took me a little while to figure out, but we finally got it working. So if you take 10 modulus 5, it would equal 0. If you took 12 modulus 5, it would equal 2. Now the reason that is because modulus is taking the remainder of whatever you're dividing.
Gotcha.
So 5 will go into 10, so the remainder is 0. 5 will not go into 12, but the closest it can get is 10. So 12 minus 10 is 2, and that's the remainder.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
And that's actually pretty important in determining things like if a number is even or odd. What you can do is go if, and I'm not going to write a legitimate code here, but I'm going to just type it out. If X is equal to 0, then true. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a legitimate statement. It wouldn't work, but I'm just trying to type it out.
Right.
So like if we do 2, change these to 2, it would be equal to 0 because 2 will go into 12 and 2 will go into 10.
Gotcha.
If we do 13, then this would equal 1 because 1 is left over. 2 will not go into 13. So then you can write a statement where you can assign this value to a variable and then write an if statement saying that if that value is 0, then it's even. If it's 1, then it's odd.
Okay.
So that's how modulus can be useful sometimes. Now next would be the increment and decrement operators.
Yeah, the plus plus and minus minus. Yeah.
Yep, and all that does is increase things by 1 or minus 1.
Yep.
Real simple. Use it a lot in looping algorithms.
Yep.
Looping
Counters
code.
and things like that are great.
And counters in that. So it's really important for things like that. I'll see if I can show a little example. Yeah, arrays will be good. So you see in this code right here, I've got a loop going.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it goes through the loop, it increases I by 1.
Yep.
And in this case, what it's doing is looking at an array, and every time it increments, it uses a different value in the array. We'll talk about arrays a little bit later, but you remember what it is? What arrays
Yep.
are?
Yep.
Okay.
Just a list of numbers.
Yep,
So.
pretty much. Now then there's comparison operators, such as greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less
Yep.
than, equal to. The mistake I found most common is that people sometimes use just, when they're saying, when they want to say equal to, they often put just one equal sign. And that
Right.
will not work because it's not a comparison operator, it's assigning a value.
Yep.
So you need to do equal to or equal to type. The equal to type means basically, is it a string, a number? Are these two the same? Are they both strings? Are they both numbers? Are they both objects? That's what that's comparing to. Another one is the does not equal.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Are you being sarcastic? Because that was
No,
my
no,
least
I use
favorite.
that one. I use that all the time. So,
It's kind of
and
backwards thinking for me, so I always go the opposite way.
see, where I work, I have to find files and then reference them on a Google Doc or a database. And so I just say, if it doesn't equal this, keep moving. It's super easy for me to understand.
Yeah, I can see where that would be useful. Yeah. Let's see. You can also do not equal to type, which
Mm-hmm.
means it's not equal to it's not, they're both not strings, or they're both not numbers or whatever. The data types: numbers, strings, arrays, and objects. The number, string, and arrays are, you said you already knew. An object is
By the way, I
it's an
like using
array
Sublime
with
Text. So,
numbers or data in the array, or naming in the array.
okay.
Let's see. So like this, for example, this is an array.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, and where's that example? Here it is. Object. This is an object. This is a type of array.
Okay.
So you've got a person. His first name is John. Last name Doe. So you can specify within the array certain information.
Now, first name colon, is that like a variable that you're declaring inside the array or inside the object?
No, it doesn't qualify as a variable. It counts as a data point within the person variable.
Okay. So if you had multiple first names in this object, you could say list all the first name data points, and it would list all of them. Sorry, I don't know if I've ever used that. I don't remember that in the class. So.
Yeah, it wasn't very common. We really didn't use it. It just went over it real briefly. I think you need to name them different.
Okay.
Each one needs to be different.
So it's not like a database where you're calling an index or a row or a column, right? That's named first name and looking for that object.
No.
Okay.
No, it's just it's like a list within the variable, and you can refer to that, but I think it each needs to be different, or else they will conflict.
Gotcha. And to call it though, it says at the top, you would type like person dot first name to call up his first name.
Right.
after you've declared the object.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Through some operators here. Assignment, functions. You're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
Objects. Objects is what we were just talking about, actually.
Yep.
Scope. So here's example for your global JavaScript variables, what you were talking about earlier. A global variable has global scope. All scripts and functions on the web page can access it. So in this example, we've got
Car name is the global variable. And I can display plus car name. Okay.
So you see how it's right below the script tags?
Yep.
It's not within the brackets of a function.
Yep, and you're not even sending that variable to the function. It's just there because it's global.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's how the global method works. Events. Now I use strings with double quotes.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, gets really tricky when you have quotes inside the string or apostrophes inside that string. So. Wait,
yeah.
no, that's it. That's in Python. It gets tricky. Never mind. In Java, it's super easy. So.
Well, like here, for example, you have quotes within.
Right.
JavaScript will necessarily understand the string.
Strings
Yeah,
must
so
be
like
written.
for example, you just gotta be careful of things like this. So like this quote right here, even though you're trying to just quote Vikings,
Yep.
JavaScript considers you closing the quote and then reopening it.
Right. And so does Python. But in JavaScript, you just escape it out with that backslash character.
Yeah, it looks like that you do the same thing here too.
But in Python, you can't do that with the backslash. You have to.
Does Java,
You have
is
to
Python
encapsulate
a way of
everything in
coding
parentheses.
Java?
Not at all. Totally different languages. But see, I use Python like almost daily, so I equate everything to that.
That's all right. Just wondering because I'm taking a Java class too.
Cool. Java and JavaScript, I think, are almost the same syntax. It's just different applications. That's what I understand. I don't know if that's true or not. You'll have to let me know. But.
Yeah, I think it's got some differences, but yeah, I think it has a lot of similarities. So, let's see, I can show some examples of things I've done in that class. I'll close this out.
Okay.
So this is a miles per gallon calculator.
Okay.
Real simple. All it does is take your start odometer, calculate your miles per gallon.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so, oh man, I got all the windows open. So you see we have the function here, which is called by the button. Here's the code for the button. We declare the variables. This document.getElement by ID is probably one of the most common ones I've used in JavaScript. And that allows you to get information from the HTML part of the web page.
Okay.
It calls out to these right here, these inputs. It gets these inputs and puts it into a code, into what JavaScript can use. So I use that most common. I notice how the variable gallon used in that get the value code can be put together. Like gallons used doesn't have to equal like a string or text. It can equal code that will reach out to another part of the program.
Right.
Then I had to parse float. I'm not sure I had to do that in this case because it's already considered a number, I believe.
Right.
But parse float, a lot of times when you're taking input from an HTML tag, JavaScript will consider it a string, and it can't deal with strings in a calculating sense.
Right.
It has to be elevated to a number, or what it considers a number, and that's what
Right.
parse float does. Then we
Okay.
have our calculation, math.round function that's going to round to a certain number of decimal points. And then that's putting the string together with the miles per gallon result. This here outputs the result.
Gotcha.
So this here in between the quotes, I always have to double check on this, but this here refers to where it's going to be output. So you see the div tags here?
Yep. Outputs it to that div tag.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's what gets us this result here. My first thought is that that's the variable I want to output, and then I put where I want to put it here at the end, but it's actually the opposite.
Okay.
Inner HTML means it's going to refer to the HTML tags.
Right.
Up here at the top, value is going to get the value from whatever that box is. It's going to refer to the HTML tags, but it's going to grab the value out of that rather than putting something into it.
Right.
Okay. So how are we doing? We going too slow here or anything?
No, you're doing great, man.
All right.
Doing great.
So a heart rate calculator. Got our function here, getting our value, floating our value, rounding it, doing the calculation. See, you can also use JavaScript to change CSS, although we didn't go too much into that in 160. It was kind of outside the scope.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember learning any of that. I remember learning CSS, but not changing it with JavaScript.
Yeah, that's one way you can get animations on a web page is by you can use certain functions and coding systems to change CSS values, and then that will, if you do it like with an increment operator, you can like make a box go across the screen, stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Way cool.
So this program brings up a good concept. That's the if-then statements. Now this is very important to having a smarter program. You see up here we've got the typical grab your values from the HTML tags, and then we want to know if the value is correct or incorrect. Now let me show you what this program is doing so you have an idea. So we have 5 plus 5 equals 10. Is that right or wrong? That's correct. We go 5 minus 5. That's incorrect. Should be 0.
Cool.
So the if-then statements, and see now it equals 0, so it's correct. The if-then statements let you create interactions like that. Now what you have to be, what it's doing is using the equal to operator to see what the operator is, comparing what you put in, the first number you put in to the second number, and then seeing if it's equal to the answer. And if it is, then it's correct. If it's not, then it's incorrect. Now with the if statements, you have, it's basically asking if a given statement, whatever you code in, is true or false. If it's true, it will execute whatever code is within the brackets. Okay, so if this one was false, it would go to the next one. If that was false, it would go to the next one. If that was false, it would go to the next one. If all of them are false, it will go to this last statement here.
Not a valid input.
Yep.
Okay.
That's not what I want. So if I were to put like ABCD in here, well, that's not something it's coded to calculate. So it would just say not valid input.
Right. So
Now,
I remember seeing in this class, someone had gone through and like figured out, and by figured out, I mean like they declared it as a variable, every number.
really?
Yeah, so they had this huge list of numbers of all possible numbers for all the multiplication.
That would take a
Computer
really
do
long
that.
time.
Yeah, it was. I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah, the teacher really strongly discouraged that. He wanted code that was shortish and robust.
Yep.
I mean, there was ways to get the answer he wanted that was pretty much just like typing in the answer, but he didn't want that. He wanted to calculate the answer.
Right.
So if a statement is true, then it will go to the whatever code is within the brackets. It will then ignore the rest of the if statements.
Yep.
So it will not even read any of these. It will go to whatever is in this. And you can see in this program I have what's called a nested if statement. So basically that means if this one's true, okay, executing the code in there. Within that, I have another if statement.
Right.
And I could do more than what's there. I could do else if whatever.
Right.
And it would look to see if all those were true or false until it found a true one.
Right.
Okay. So that was a good example.
Yeah, this is a good refresher, man. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually really surprised how rusty I am after only a few months. All right, so these are all programs we made in the class.
Yeah, I remember doing this one.
Yeah, this one emphasizes passing a variable between functions. So this one's great. You see we have it's pretty simple. You've got the same, getting your information from the HTML tags, same everything there. But this value is getting its value, this variable is getting its value from another function. And this is, you basically just write whatever function you want to use in there and then take the values you want to pass over.
Right.
So temp F, I'm taking that from here. And it's passing it in here. Now I just happen to decide to name it the same as, this.
Right, but it doesn't matter because it's only that name in the function. So.
Right. All that function sees, the wind chill function sees, is that this first value is whatever it had.
Right.
And you have to name it in order to use it.
Right.
So then you have some named variables that you got from another function, and you can use them however you want, just as normal. Do your calculation, whatever you need, and then when you're done, just make sure you use the return command and then whatever variable you want to pass over. And that will equal this.
Right.
So this will equal f from that second function. A lot of students in the class had a hard time with that concept, but I think it would have been really helpful to have the teacher just do a video demonstration and just go through it step by step. So when you read it in a book, it's hard to grasp sometimes.
Yep. Even at W3 schools, sometimes it's hard to figure out what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why, I think back on it now, but I don't even know why it confused me, but the swap function, the swap code, that confused me forever. Where you have like a variable that's like x equals 10, y equals swap equals x, y equals swap.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it was just assigning value X to value Y, and I don't know why that confused me for so long. It's really simple.
Well, because it's 3 steps when it should be like 1, you know.
Yeah, right. That took me forever, and I really don't know why, but I got it. This one will emphasize a really good set of code that allows you to get the date from your system. So looking for the day of the week,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get whatever day it is of the week. This is good if statement for that. Comparing day of week is greater than 4 or less than or equal to. This is an important operator here. If you're trying to compare two values, see this right here on the left side is going to evaluate to either true or false. Same thing with the right side. Now this code here, the double, they're not actually I or L, they're the horizontal line button.
Right.
That means or. So if this one's true or this one's true, then execute this code.
Yep.
You can also do like and.
Right.
So both of that means both of these have to be true in order for it to execute this code.
So one note with the and or operators in Excel, and from what I heard, it's the same with MySQL or Oracle databases. It's not the same, code. It's not the 2 lines or the 2 ampersands to call those. Like I think the and is a greater than, less than symbol. Both of those instead of the 2 ampersands. That's just a note for 225.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just FYI. And in Excel, it's that way too, which really threw me off for a while.
Let's see. There are math operators that you can use like this. This statement here is looking into the math.power. So whatever you put into here is going to be raised to the power of, whatever. And in this case, I have digits, which up here is equal to 2. So I'm basically doing 10 to the second power.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different functions in there. You probably already know this website, it being CSS. Here. This is an awesome tutorial that I'm sure you used a lot.
Yep.
It will pretty much show you everything you need to know and give you really good examples.
Yep.
So that's a great resource. Let's see, subnet. This was pretty cool. This was actually one I made for another class I was doing. You ever taken any network classes?
No, it's on my list. Probably next semester.
Okay, well, what this is you need to figure out the IP address for like computers and stuff.
Right.
And there's some calculations that you need to do, and basically this tells you the calculations. And this implements a lot of what 160 taught because it just made it easier. You see how I got all these numbers on the left?
Yep.
I did that. I produced these with a loop and increment operator. So I didn't have to type all these numbers in.
Nice. So you got it to go up to 255 or so on the top number? 256? Okay.
Yep, 256. So
Would it be 255? Because you're counting 0 as a set of 1, right?
Right. 256
so
on IP addresses is like a broadcast address.
Okay.
So it can't be used as an IP address for a computer. It's like when one computer on a network wants to send a data packet to all the computers on the network.
Okay.
That's what a broadcast.
Good to know. That's handy.
Yeah, you'll learn all that in, I think, CIT 240.
Cool.
So this helps me with those calculations. So there, you can only have 8 digits in
Right.
an IP4 calculation. So that means you just didn't do it. You did it bad. Didn't put in the right number. This is just the different range of IP addresses you can have in a subnet. Tells you how many bits you're using. When you're calculating this, I want to implement this sometime, but when you're calculating this, you need to convert sometimes the IP address to a binary number, which is 16 digits, I believe,
Right.
or 8 digits, I can't remember. And I'd like it to display that, but I'm not quite sure how to make it calculate it. So I'm still figuring that out. So this has a lot of functionality to it that I kind of added to throughout the semester. It implements a lot of the principles that were taught, like even the clear function, this button that just clears everything. Hi, Carson. That's my, okay, take them off and go. That's my 3-year-old.
I've got my kids running around. I'm sure you've heard them already too.
I gave him a muffin, so it should be good. So like even the clear function, that ability to just clear everything out requires its own code.
Right.
And requires its own function. So you see the clear it button here, clear it function.
Yep.
That just sets all the values to nothing.
To blank, yeah, that makes sense.
Just
That's
blank.
easy.
Yeah. And here, getting a value, setting a variable, using if statements, else statements. They're very using the equal to or equal to, all that. It was really helpful in my class and helped me. It helped me with the networking class and helped me in the 160 class because it just helped me with implementation.
Cool.
So this is a loop example. We're trying to, something else I forgot to mention. You have to be careful when you're setting a loop. Let's see, where's my loop? Yeah, we'll just do this. You have to be careful with setting up a loop because if you set it so that it never reaches a false statement, then it will just go
forever.
on forever and it will crash your browser.
Yep, I've been there.
Yeah. So what I'm doing here is in this for statement, this is a loop, is I'm incrementing the exponent variable until it reaches 31.
Right.
If I were to do greater than, change this to greater than, greater than or equal to 21.
Yep.
Well, in that case, it would just stop. But if I just took like this out or, made it so that it never reached a stopping point, then it would just crash.
Right.
And I've done that several times. I'm not going to do it because our Hangout session will end.
Yeah, no, you're good. I understand.
Okay. All right. Odd summarization. This is a good implementation of the modulus operator. So you got a loop statement here. As long as, I don't have it running infinitely, as long as a is less than or equal to n, which n is the value that you put in, it will increment a, and then it will determine the if that number is 1 or 0, if it's true or false. So we'll run the program. And what that did was it took the sum of all numbers, of all odd numbers between 1 and whatever I put in the box. So it went 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 all the way up to 500.
Cool.
But here's something else. This right here is the same thing as saying sum equals sum plus a.
Yep.
That's a good note. It's a way of shorthanding it.
Yep.
Investment, early. Okay. So I'm going to show this last one, but is there anything else you're seeing that you want to go over?
No, I think you've hit on every question I've had so far.
Okay.
So it's good.
All right. Then I'll show this last one and we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
Roman numerals. This was the most complicated assignment I did. It was early on in the course. I didn't know the content very well, and it took me like 4 days to get this all written. But basically what this is doing is converting any number between 1 and 1,000 to a Roman numeral.
Cool.
See that?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Later on in the course, I didn't have the reset button when I started that, but later on in the course, we learned a bit more, and I went back and improved it a bit. So if you put like 4,000 in there, comes up with that.
So are you you're parsing out that variable into hundreds, tens, and ones?
Yep.
Somehow, right? Oh, there you go, by the modulus. There you go.
Yep, right there. This right here, this code, these 4 lines took me like 24 hours of straight up work.
I believe it.
I was like, how do I do it? And back then I didn't really understand how modulus worked.
Right.
But I can see how it could be very useful. So yeah, what this is basically doing is separating whatever you put in there into thousands, hundreds, ones, tens. And then each of these if statements is separating those into whatever value that is in Roman numerals.
Gotcha. What if you're only to put like 20 or 23 in the value?
Then
you wouldn't have 1,000 or 100.
Yeah. Well, then let's see. Well, none.
Oh, cool.
It still
so
works.
You wrote that in somewhere. Cool.
Let's see how that does that. See, it's with the if statements. What I'm doing, it's all about how you combine it. What I'm doing at the bottom here is combining the first, second, third, and fourth values of those digits. And the way it works is if these don't have a value, then it just doesn't calculate it. And so it ignores it. And that's why it works to just have 23. And that's how it doesn't come up with like an undefined or something like that. That makes sense.
Yep, that does.
So
cool.
Yeah, this is a good one because it uses if statements, it uses comparison, uses modulus, and it combines it using string concatenation.
Concatenation, yeah.
Concatenation, yeah. Thank you. Outputs the value. It was later on that I finally figured out how to put in the reset button. So let's see if there's anyone here. Non-calculator count evens. So it might be a good one. So all this one does is count the even numbers in the array.
Cool.
So you need to, arrays are accessed by an index number. It starts at 0, not 1.
Right.
Just remember that. That'll mess you up. So let's see, where is it? Where is it? Okay, there it is. There's the index example. So list I. We're starting at 0. Here's my 0. I've got a loop running as long as I is less than the list length, which is how many numbers are in here. And it increments it. It increments this so long as that list number modulus 2 is equal to 0, which basically means anything that is going to be excluded.
Okay.
So multiply arrays. This one's just multiplying the arrays, taking each one and multiplying it by the next one. That's another loop statement using the index.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing. So, all right.
All right, that makes sense. That's good.
Have anything I didn't touch on?
No, I think you got everything I had questions on.
All right. All right, very good.
Cool. Well, thanks, Justin. Same time next week.
Yeah. Who's going to do it? I mean, at this moment, it seems like you and I are the only active ones. Maybe Marina.
Yeah.
So
sounds about. I can do it next week if you want, but I'll send an email out later today. Just seeing if Marina or Casey want to jump in as well.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, man.
Okay. Thanks, Justin.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you.
All right. See you.
Bye.